Ask George is brought to you by International Cricket Tours. ICT are cricket travel specialists with decades of experience taking supporters all over the world. Get in touch with their expert team today to plan winter trips to the Caribbean, Pakistan, New Zealand, as well as the Women's Ashes. Love cricket, love travel, choose International Cricket Tours. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Ask George. An intriguing third day at Old Trafford. Very good. Here we go.
That was patronising. Well done, you.
Quick learner, I am.
Smashed it. Bobby Smith asked, given his consistent new ball prowess, is Chris Woakes now a dark horse for an opening spot in the Ashes?
I still don't think he is, to be honest. It's his batting as well, though, isn't it? His batting makes such a big difference, and I don't think it'd be very easy to replace. But I love Chris Woakes. I mean, who doesn't love Chris Woakes? But I think it would be disingenuous to say that I think he's the answer on Australian wickets. I'd love him to be, but I just don't think so. He said the other day that he might have some more skills, which he might. There aren't very many 80-mile-an-hour bowlers do well in Australia. I mean, you could argue that maybe Alderman did for a bit, but I don't think so. And so I think they're looking. I think there's a really great opportunity for an all-rounder, and maybe Casey Aldridge is at a push, that guy, but let's see.
I'd be really surprised if he's there, but you never know, right? Cricket's a weird thing. Fast bowlers get injured a lot, don't they? So I kind of think what you should be doing, if I was kind of in charge of England, is giving as many people a go as possible. If that's what the aim is, and that series against Sri Lanka, series against the West Indies is actually all about this slow build up to Australia, then I think kind of give as many people as possible, try as many people out, which I think they're kind of doing a little bit. And then you've got to see when you're about to board that plane, who's fit and available and who your best players are. It might be a case that he might be an option, right? Because I don't think his batting's as bad as people seem to.
Who? Woakes is?
Yeah.
His batting's great.
Yeah.
I mean,
But no, there has been some, this week coming into this test, people like maybe he's batting too high, or like so I think he's one of those players that's kind of stuck between, people aren't really sure what he is and what he's meant to do. But I mean, I think everything he's been asked to do this series, he's done.
I think he averages 21 with the ball in Test cricket in England. 21. And about 30 with the bat in Tests in England. So it's not all about the Ashes either. There's a massive series in England next summer between England and India. Yeah, India have been pushing to win a series here for quite a long time. And you would think right now that Chris Woakes is England's best side. So it's not all about the Ashes, but to answer the specific question, I'm not sure I'd be taking him still, I'm afraid.
It was slightly covered in that previous answer, but Malcolm Purvis asked, as this test is petering out into an easy England win, will the selectors use the remaining test now to give fringe players a game? Cox, Archer maybe?
Well, not Archer. No. But that's neither here nor there. The first bit, what do you think about the first bit? Easy win.
I think this has actually been much more trickier for England than they thought it was going to be. I'm not going to stand here and say I think Sri Lanka have done well, but I think they've put up a bit more of a fight than, I'm about as optimistic as a Sri Lanka fan as you get, than I thought they were going to put up. Hopefully, we're just going to get stronger and stronger. The Sri Lanka are fair weather side, right? Hopefully, it's going to be hotter and warmer and less windy when we go down to London for the parts 2 and 3 of this series. I don't think this series is over. I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park trying to make it 2-0 next time round. It's going to take an absolute miracle for Sri Lanka to get a positive result out of this test the next 2 days. But I don't think England will be sitting there going, well, that's easy, we'll just turn up next time round. They've got to go through the process. They've got to build, we talked about the Ashes in, 18 months? Less than that.
14, actually.
14.
Really. Yeah.
They're trying to build towards that. They've got to use every opportunity they can to create the culture at this point. Maybe not necessarily the 11 who are going to be playing. They've got to create that culture around the squad and around the team that's going to be the one that's going to bring those Ashes home. They've got to use every opportunity they've got. I don't think they can take Sri Lanka unseriously. I think Sri Lanka are going to make batting changes. I think that's going to probably make them stronger at the top as well. I think Pathum Nissanka will come in. So yeah, I don't think this is a time for experimenting for England necessarily, and I don't think this is a foregone conclusion.
They are experimenting though a bit, aren't they, already? I mean, they're experimenting as much as they can. You know, Gus Atkinson's just come into the side. Jamie Smith just come into the side. Harry Brooks, you know, he hasn't played that many tests. These are pretty... Dan Lawrence just come back into the side. So I think they're testing their bench strength a wee bit. You know, Jofra is still coming back from injury, and I don't think we expect him to play first-class cricket this year. But absolutely. Look, just let me daydream for a bit. If England have a 4-7 of Root, Brooks, Stokes, Smith, and if they have Wood and Archer, and if they have Shoaib Bashir, a year better and more experienced. Interesting, eh?
Do you think Archer's going to play Test cricket again?
I think he wants to. I think he's got a special talent. I hope so. I don't know.
I think there's, and I'm maybe a bit more cynical than you, I think there's a number of Indian billionaires who really don't want him to play Test cricket ever again, and I think that might be ultimately the reason why we don't see him ever do it.
It might, but I think when he was a little boy, growing up in Barbados, he dreamt of playing cricket and Test cricket, and not dreamt of pleasing Indian billionaires. I don't think that. I think the dream is what powers athletes, not the money. The money is a byproduct, and he'll do fine financially because he's a special talent. So I don't know. And look, if you were his mum or dad, and you were advising him, I would absolutely respect a decision which was, do you know what? I think I'll just go the T20 route. I'll make a lot of money and extend my career. But I don't think it's all about that. I think we make the big decisions in life on emotion.
The Indoor Kite Society asked, with England not playing Test matches next August, have the ECB been sensible in avoiding playing in the depths of the British winter?
Very good.
Absolutely.
They're playing one in May, aren't they, as well, mid-May. I don't know, I missed the British summer this year.
Yeah, passed me by.
Yeah. It was 2 weeks, it was great. And do you know, I think we had a better time without you two being there as well, actually.
Look, just one thing on the whole Sri Lanka thing. I think they've done pretty well today. I thought that it was a real tough day for England after that. But after the morning, after the first hour or so anyway. You don't win many games if you are 90 for 7 in the first innings. You don't win many games if you bat first and get 236. And I think we're seeing again, I completely agree, they're going to be better for the run out, for the experience. I mean, of course they are. They needed another game. They needed another game before coming into this test. It's frustrating. What
I really wanted to see from this test was that grit, and they've basically started every morning terribly. And it happened again today, where it really set up, but they showed that grit, they showed that fight. Angelo Matthews, absolutely hilarious to watch field, but an absolute, I saw someone describe him as a warhorse online, and that's exactly what he was. He was just kind of sticking about, running hard, as hard as he can run between the wicket to get runs. They don't want to embarrass themselves, and they're an experienced bunch of players. They're ultimately, I think sometimes when people talk about when travelling teams come to England, they forget that these are actually professional cricketers, and they're there for a reason, and they're from really established cricketing cultures and backgrounds, and you know, they might not be set to play in Northern England in the winter, but they do have a skill set somewhere, and at some point that we're hoping that might show up.
Absolutely.
Cricketer subscribers can gain all our analysis and reports from international and county cricket for just £3.99 a month. Check out the link alongside the video.
The Indoor Kite Society also asked, is this Mark Wood era the best red ball Mark Wood era? God, that's...
I don't know. Since where were we? St Lucia 2019. I almost think that you have to start again with his career. So right before that test in St Lucia, he said, "Oh, I think I can bowl as quick as Shannon Gabriel." And you know, he played a few tests before then. I remember a few of us caught each other's eye and I'm thinking, and then, oh my God, oh my God, he was fast. And he's never not been. He's never not fast now. And so since then, he's been brutally, viciously quick, pretty much all the time when he's been fit. So I don't know, if you mean right now, don't know. I'd say ever since 2019 when he's been fit, he's been brilliant. It's the quickest English bowler I've ever seen by miles.
To me, he's like a Doctor Who villain at the moment. He's like the Dalek, isn't he? It's like you
He's
get excited.
A bit nice though.
No, I know he's lovely, but what I'm trying to say is you get excited when he's in, but I'm hiding behind the TV screen because I'm like, oh no, he's going to take down one of all our batters, and that's exactly what we did with the first ball.
I did.
Today.
I thought Ollie Pope got that so well. I thought that was such brave captaincy today. Mark Wood was running in, just felt his thigh just a wee bit, and he stopped and he was going to restart his run up and go again, and Ollie Pope said, no. What a brilliant, brave thing for a young captain starting his career to do. Recognising that this guy's special and you don't take risks with him. And he's at an age where, you've got to be nursed a wee bit. I thought that was really, really brilliant captaincy, and I hope it's not overlooked.
Sushan asks, will England be proactive in taking the gloves off Smith to make him an all-format batter?
I don't know. I mean, it's working, isn't it, what they're doing? Isn't it? I love Ben Folkes. I wouldn't have dropped him.
If you kept
and they could play together.
I was going to say, if you kept wicket your whole life, surely suddenly not keeping wicket in a game kind of plays around with the mental side of it, because you're used to having that focus on essentially every ball that you either face, or when you're in the field, every ball in the field as well, because you're effectively, as a wicketkeeper, kind of facing them as well, right?
He is already the cricketer that they wanted Jos Buttler to be. Look, I think you do raise a fair point. I think actually he probably could be a number 3. I think he probably could be. But they've got someone doing that job who I don't think they're about to drop, whether they should or not, and I don't think they are. And also, you raise a good point about the burden of playing all formats, because although it's a huge privilege and joy, it's really, really tiring mentally and physically. And you wouldn't want to take... what we're seeing at the moment is a very young fella with enormous amounts of concentration and confidence and ability all coming together. But you know how with young players, very, very often the world record for top scores is set by people at the start of their career. I think it was with Sobers and Hutton, and Lara. I know he did it again. But you see it in snooker too, very, very young people doing extraordinary things because they've got the freshness and the concentration, I think, as much as anything. So you raise an absolutely valid point about that. He's going to have to be nursed in a bit. They're going to have to make sure that he's rested. But it's kind of working, and let's not make a negative out of a positive, because what he's done today is brilliant. He's really, really... Obviously it will get tougher, and obviously he's missed a couple of things with the gloves now, but nothing that particularly worries anyone, I don't think. Do you think?
No, I don't think so.
So I don't know, let's not worry about it. They've got someone who's doing a great job at 6 or 7 or whatever, 7 I think it will be. That's good, isn't it?
I think so. Yaha Marjan Balok asked, is Ollie Pope a good captain? What do you see about his captaincy so far?
Okay, well, I mentioned one thing there that just jumped out. Do you know what? I thought actually they were a bit impatient. It annoyed me a bit. We talked about this a bit during the day. How they had, leg slips and stuff, and they were aiming a little bit straight. And I think it was trying to be a wee bit clever, but it did almost work a couple of times. But equally, just hitting off stump, nagging away, trying to nibble it each way. Oh, it sounds old-fashioned, but it does work, doesn't it? And when Chris Woakes went back to doing it, he did strike. Admittedly, there was a ball change. So, I don't know, what else struck you fellas?
I think getting the new ball was quite a big deal, and he was kind of pivotal to that. You talked about how he got, took Mark Wood off. I thought that was quite good. I do think it feels a little less heavy metal than it did with Ben Stokes, but obviously Ben Stokes is such a huge character, and is one of those people who's always catching the eye, right? That it's always going to feel slightly different, and that doesn't mean it's not good. It's just a slightly different style.
I think the next England captain is going to be very interesting, because Harry Brooks vice-captain this test, and I wonder if when the decision does come and Ben Stokes does move on, it depends what place England are. Do you go with maybe the more sensible option in Ollie Pope? He seems more, the traditional always been going to captain England one day, and then Harry Brook might be the slightly more fun, slightly more Ben Stokes option. I think that would be quite interesting with who wins out in that battle.
I just wonder whether Zach Crawley might have been vice captain were he here. I don't know, just a thought. But yeah, you're right. Anyway, I think he's done pretty well. Just to put it in perspective, I don't know how many overs we lost in this match so far. 60?
It's got to be more than that, surely.
Well, if we'd had all 60 overs, would we be going into the fourth day? So anyway, just a thought. I mean, I don't think he could have done much better. He could have got some more runs, I guess. I think it's been an assured start.
Kunjan asks, isn't it cheating in broad daylight, the ball change?
It's not cheating because obviously the umpires allowed it to happen. It's gamesmanship and it's playing wise, a hard and tactical cricket. It's street smart, which it's, if I was going to be super cynical, I'd say it's all the things Sri Lanka weren't today. I think if you're a Sri Lanka fan, obviously I am, and you go back and look at the best Sri Lanka sides, they're teams that always play at the edge of the rules, right? You look at Arjuna and you look at Murali and you look at other types of players that we've had through the ages. I think it was a hard lesson and a quickly learnt lesson today for the Sri Lanka players about how England go about their business. I mean, I know I mentioned this a couple of days ago. I mean, morally, Sri Lanka have obviously now won the series. I wouldn't be surprised if Sri Lanka have to take home the whole of Lords and rebuild it in Colombo. Because I do think,
we need another test ground in Colombo.
We do, yeah, that's exactly what we need. Maybe we could build it in Jaffna, but that's for a different podcast. I mean, if the so-called spirit of cricket, I'm not sure that's particularly happy with Ollie Pope and the boys tonight. But do you know what? They did it and it worked. And actually, there's a bit of me that kind of rates them for doing it.
I mean, they're trying to get a ball change from Australian umpire. It's not cheating. Don't use the word cheating. It's an emotive word, and it actually undermines a possibly reasonable point that you got in there somewhere. I mean, his answer is absolutely perfect, but just it's an Australian umpire, and actually England have had a couple of quite rough decisions, I think, in this game. I mean, the no ball decision didn't really matter with Jamie Smith and the gloves. Jeez, I wasn't sure that was right. I'd like to see it a few more times. I mean, what did you think?
I was really overjoyed when it happened, to be honest.
It doesn't really matter anyway.
Yeah, but apparently the umpire had warned him before, right? So
told, yeah. But it doesn't mean he was right.
No.
And also the other one was the Gus Atkinson had a wicket struck down, as they say, for bowling too many bouncers. Soft. I mean, it's fine, but you wouldn't particularly complain. But I don't think it's like the umpires are favouring England.
I think with any professional sports team and even a lot of just very well-run amateur sides, they talk about how they're going to manage the umpire, the referee, whatever sport it is. And England obviously have a way and a tactic of which they're going to do it, and they talk about it. And in this particular scenario, it's worked with that no ball. With other times during this test, it maybe hasn't quite worked out the way they were hoping for it. But they managed the umpires and it's been successful. Sri Lanka did try and get the ball change as well. And I think they just gave up too easily.
There are so many ball changes in English cricket, in county cricket as well. I mean, it has become so much part of the game, and it should reflect quite. I like the Duke's ball. I think it swings and a bit more happens than other varieties of ball. And I always think the game's a bit better, at Test cricket in particular, when the ball is somewhat on top. But I don't think it reflects very well on the Dukes that you have to get a new one after every 40, 50, 60 overs. That's not what they're for, is it? They should last longer than that. So
they're expensive as well, aren't they?
They're really expensive. And it's quite hard to make a continual case for them and the benefits of them. In county cricket, you may know that they're moving ever more towards Kookaburra. There are 4 rounds of Kookaburra used balls in this season. I think it'll be more next. And it's quite hard to argue for a retention of the Dukes, which I do argue for, when the ball goes out of shape so quickly and so often. So, you raise a fair point. You really do. Of course you do. It's a debating point. But the word cheating, it's so emotive, and it's not fair because the umpires make the decision, don't they?
Thank you very much for joining us for another episode of Ask George. Thank you very much for sending in your questions. We will see you on what could be the final day of the Old Trafford Test match tomorrow.